everyone! New intro! Yay! Shout out to subscriber Justice with a number 1 in the place of the I. I'm guessing it's a he because there's like a boy in the picture. He's one of my first ride or die subscribers. So thank you, dude. It's nice to finally be generating people who are watching my videos consistently and giving me feedback. And I took on your critique of adding a intro, and I would not have thought of doing something like that had you not given me feedback. So if anyone else out there is watching, then definitely comment if you have any preferences or any feedback as to how you would like me to do my daily vlogs. Today, I had a full day of just preparing for work tomorrow. It's our first day of going into work tomorrow, so that should be interesting. But that is not the topic for today. Today's topic was inspired by a professional development that I did as part of last week's induction at my school. And the professional development was about bilingualism. So for those of you who are like, what is bilingualism? It's basically being able to speak 2 languages, but the debate around that was, at what point can you say that you're fluent in 2 languages? Oh, for goodness sake, I keep forgetting to turn off the AC. Anyways, at what point do you know, or are you certain that, okay, I am bilingual? And this conversation brought up many interesting facets to the topic, to the discussion. And it made me think about myself. It made me think about the fact that I know certain things from certain languages, but actually I can only say that I speak English completely fluently, like I have a full handle on English. I do speak Greek, but can I go into an environment and speak it completely with ease and, you know, just have a full-on conversation? No, it will take my brain some energy to be able to speak Greek. Much like Spanish, I studied Spanish in Saudi Arabia for 4 years when I was in high school, and I'm able to have basic conversations. I'm able to communicate. If I were to go to Spain or Latin America, I'm sure I'd be able to go to the grocery store and ask for something that I needed, you know. Yo quiero una saca de tomata. See, it's probably absolutely terribly wrong, but at least I got the verb right, quiero. So that's the thing. At what point do you say, okay, that person is able to communicate with people from a different country, from a different culture? And what's really interesting about that is the fact that we are doing such an amazing thing for our kids in the school that I'm at. And I just felt really grateful for that. The school that we're at are full of children who speak little to no English. And, you know, in general, in China, you know, the general majority don't speak English. When we're in Nantong, we are really struggling to communicate with people just because, you know, they can't even, you know, the things that you would expect even low English speakers to be able to speak, they can't. And so you have to kind of adapt to that and be able to communicate in other ways. There are translators, but what about when your phone's dead? Or what about when your internet's not working? What tools do you use to be able to communicate? Well, we use our gestures, don't we? We use our eye contact. We pick up things and certain mannerisms from the Chinese, and then we emulate that in order to be able to get our message across. And going back to the thing where I said we're doing such an amazing thing, you know, teaching our kids, and even wider than that, communicating with those in the community that we're in is having such an influence on society. You know, we're not, you know, the average person in this society. We are the minority, and you can look at that in a negative way, but you can also see that as an opportunity to become more multilingual. And, you know, after this discussion, I was reflecting on one of the questions that they brought up, which was, it was surrounding the idea of, is language limited to spoken word vocabulary? And that's the thing. I don't believe it is. If you think about the fact that, you know, I can go out into the world, a lot of people, a lot of our colleagues can go out into the community of China and, you know, go to a stand or go to a store and say, you know, water, thirsty, thirsty, sorry. 水，你有水吗? Yeah, and then eventually they get it, right? Or hungry, hungry food? 吃饭, you know? And so that is communicating. That is bilingualism. That is multilingualism. That is being able to be a polyglot. And we get to, you know, on one hand, when we're in society, you know, going around, we get to pick up mannerisms from these Chinese and learn from the world in such a greater way than we would if we were in a situation where we were forced to, or we had the comfort of always speaking English. I mean, you know, when I lived in the Middle East, everyone speaks English, so I didn't learn much Arabic because I wasn't, you know, forced to, and I didn't immerse myself in the culture much because I didn't have to, whereas in China, we have to. And so now I know 10, this is 10, you know? And so when I first moved here, I would have thought that was 10. This is a language, you know? There's also all of these different hand signals for the numbers, which I actually don't know. 10, I think this is, I don't know, I think it's 2, is it? My friend Vicky knows all of them. And so that's a language in itself. It's sign language with their hands. And so, you know, on one hand, we're learning that. And then on the other hand, we're going to the school and we're teaching our kids not only the vocabulary to be able to learn in the outside world, but to also just understand the mannerisms that we use because they're so vastly different. And if you're not living in China, you might be like, why is this such an amazing phenomenon? Well, if you come to China, you'll see that it's so closed off. People aren't exposed. If you saw my vlog yesterday, I met a woman who had never met a foreigner in her life. She was sitting there so happy after we had a conversation. She's like, she spoke a little bit of English, which is very unusual, especially for someone who's never met a foreigner. And she's like, today I'm happy. Why are you happy? You? Foreign. What? Oh, we're the first foreigners that you met? Really? Huh. Oh my gosh. Wow. So nice to meet you. You know, and then there you have it. We have brought something different to her life. And so, you know, sorry, I lost track. Back to the point is that that's an example of how, you know, closed off they are. These people have never met non-Chinese people. They've never met foreigners. And so we go to this school and we're able to reveal something to them that's new and that's going to change the course of their life. You know, another point I brought up in the professional development when they said, what are the benefits of bilingualism? Well, it helps us understand how other cultures think. It's actually the answer to moving towards peace, because we're bridging gaps by teaching ways of communicating, but also by teaching different ways of thinking. Language is patterns. Different languages have different patterns, therefore different lines of thinking, therefore different routes to solutions. Therefore, if we're able to understand more and more patterns of thinking, we'll be able to have more empathy, no? And so that's why it's so important to be bilingual, but not limited to language, but gestures, but mannerisms, but ways of life. Lifestyle is a language. You know, if I adapt to a certain lifestyle, I'm learning a new language of being. So multilingualism is not only just a cool, fancy way to present yourself. Oh, I speak Spanish and French and English. No, you're also widening your perspective and bridging gaps between communities. And that's why the work that we do as teachers in this country in China is so very powerful and important. And I'll talk more in another video about how closed off China is and bring the real reality to you. But you know, when you live here, you realize that you're really learning so much because you're forced to, you're plunged into it. But you're also teaching so much. And so I encourage you, when you're out in the world, in a community where you're not necessarily forced to be out of your comfort zone because you're constantly speaking the language you speak and everyone speaks it around you, I challenge you to put yourself in uncomfortable situations where you're forced to learn a new language. Maybe a language of lifestyle, maybe a language of mannerisms, maybe language of diction. Why don't you share with me a time when you've been put in a situation where you felt wholly uncomfortable and out of your comfort zone, but grew and learned a new language as a result of it? All right, guys, that is it. I need to go to bed. It is really, really past my bedtime. That was a little bit of a ramble. I don't know if it made any sense, but it was kind of my thoughts just like bleh, in reflection to the bilingual session. So I hope you enjoyed it, guys, and I will be seeing you tomorrow for a new video. It will be really interesting to see how these videos develop when I'm working, because my brain will just be like mush and I'll be like, hi guys, so I was thinking, you know. So that will be interesting. Anyways, if you got to the end of the video and you feel like, that was interesting. This guy has a point. This guy says a thing or two that, you know, flick a switch in my brain or, you know, light a small little flame in my spirit, then subscribe and like this video, because it would be awesome, especially because it would just, you know, spread my video around, and that would be very awesome. Thank you so much for watching once again, and I will see you on the flip side. Bye.